Hi there, let's talk about Halloween. It's tomorrow and I absolutely hate it. Let's talk about it. Let's just listen to this video with a grain of salt and just listen to my reasoning, hear me out. And if you still choose to like Halloween, that's fine, but let me share. Again, this is a video from a Christian standpoint, so if you don't follow Christ and you don't follow God, then none of this video really is for you because it's not going to align morally with you. Like, this video is for people who love God and love light. So yesterday, God called me out of Halloween when my son was about 2 or 3, and he just turned 6 in July. And the last time we went trick-or-treating was the only time we went trick-or-treating because I was feeling convicted for a few years, and then I took him trick-or-treating and didn't listen to my conviction, and I was like, you know what, we're just gonna spread the gospel. But I was only spreading the gospel to justify me celebrating Halloween because I wanted to dress up, and I decorated his wagon as Noah's Ark. And then my husband and I were a pair of giraffes, and I handed out little gospel bags, and even then I just didn't feel right about even partaking at all. But last night I went for my neighborhood walk at night because I've been walking a lot. I'm trying to hit 15,000 steps a day. And I was walking through all the figurines and stuff, and it was just really gory. I mean, we had skeletons and ghosts and spiders and demons and witches and death and darkness and blood and severed body parts and graveyards and spider webs and darkness. One of my neighbors, who is notorious for handing out trick-or-treating candy, has one of those clown animatronics that when you step in front of them, it's like, I'm gonna kill you, and it has a bloody knife. And there's going to be toddlers, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds watching this. I went to a pumpkin patch recently with my daughter, and we got on the train to ride it, and I did not know there was gonna be like spooky Halloween stuff. I thought it was more of a farm thing, and they had Halloween, and she was crying, and people around her were like, it's not a big deal, stop crying, like as if it's not normal for a 3-year-old to cry over skeletons, blood, and murder. Like, I think that's a perfectly normal reaction to seeing things that are so gory and disgusting. And people who say, oh, you're just a wimp to children, it's like, no, you're just sick because you like to push your nasty beliefs on children with like murder scenes and blood and guts. Like, that is not normal for a 3-year-old to be looking at, and those images cause nightmares. Those images can cause anxiety later in life. Like, we were not meant to, as young children, be looking at such gory, disgusting images that really represent darkness and the kingdom of darkness. And as I was walking the neighborhoods, I was like, the devil is crafty. The devil dresses up stuff and makes it look fun. He doesn't come in the obvious. The Bible says he is seeking whom he can devour, and that he is crafty, that he disguises himself as an angel of light. If you want to find the devil, you got to find stuff that's enjoyable and that's fun. I mean, he didn't come to Eve and say, hey, he didn't come condemning Eve. He came flattering Eve. He came telling her to eat the fruit. He came telling her to engage in something that God said to stay away from. You know, when I liked Halloween, I was a very lukewarm Christian, and the Spirit of God had not been put inside me yet. So of course I had no wisdom to discern what good and evil is. The Bible says, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you can test the will of God. I know now that the will of God is to abstain from Halloween, but because I was so worldly, and because I had one foot in the world and one foot with God, he hadn't put his Spirit inside me yet to help me discern what path to take. And the thing is I never gave up Halloween because any person told me to. Even now, there's so many Christians on my street that celebrate Halloween, and I don't condemn them or anything, but I do not feel like they are being led by the Spirit. I think that Halloween is something that they want, and they don't want to give it up for God. And at the end of the day, like, Jesus gave his life for us, and these things are just darkness. Like, if I follow Jesus, then I want my home to expel light, life. I don't want it to represent darkness. I think it's very weird to decorate with skeletons. A skeleton is a deceased body, and we've somehow convinced each other that that's normal to hang that on your house. And even in the biblical times, like when we think of like, God was very strict with like not looking at the dead bodies, like not touching dead bodies, and that's kind of a sacred thing, like that you're not supposed to do, you know, because it's just showing respect for the dead. And like my daughter is 3 years old, and I haven't really shared my Halloween convictions with her, because I haven't, like, I don't really tell her it's bad or anything. I just kind of have not really said anything because she's still so little and she wouldn't understand. But I was pushing them in a wagon, and she saw the tall skeletons and the ghosts and stuff, and she's like, "Mommy, why is that there?" And I was like, "It's Halloween." And she was like, "Halloween bad." And she goes and she tells everybody Halloween is bad. And I did not force that belief on her. She developed that through seeing the scary imagery and saying, "I don't like that. That is not good. That's scary. That's not what is good." And I homeschool my children. I teach them Bible studies. They live a very set apart life as God called us to. And I fill my home with light. And you know, we sing songs and praise, and it's just joy. And so for her to see such a contrasting image on the street, it was foreign to her. And so that's how she came to that realization. And my husband and I were walking, and we were talking, and we were like, I wonder how many kids would naturally not like Halloween if their parents did not force it on them. Like if they were able to just choose, how many kids, if there was no candy involved, would they choose Halloween? Would they really want to go see scary images of knives and blood and gore and stuff? And for the neighbors that are putting this type of stuff on your doors steps, a killer clown with a knife, it is not for the kids. That is not normal. That is sick. And you need a psychological evaluation to think that that is normal, to try to do that to a little kid. I mean, I'm sorry if that makes me sound judgmental, but that is disgusting. Like, these are 3 and 4-year-olds and 2-year-olds coming to your doorstep. That is just disturbing. It's not funny at all. And like nightmares and anxiety are real. And I have a degree in childhood development, and that these images are literally ruining your children. So after just coming out of Halloween, like I initially researched Halloween a few years ago and saw what it actually stands for, and all the, like, it was like literally a pagan holiday where like people are like, would like ward off spirits. And it was actually a bunch of new age practices, which is like something God says to stay away from, all throughout his commandments in the Old Testament, that he despises people who take part in witchcraft and all this stuff. But even just as of late, Halloween has become even bigger in the satanic realm, with like the occult and witches and people who practice the occult. Like Halloween is like their Resurrection Sunday. So why don't I celebrate Halloween? Well, the same reason that you won't see a Satanist practicing or celebrating the resurrection, because light has no association with darkness. And the thing is if you think it's just about the candy and it's about the fun and the costumes, I want to ask you this. Like, if you're not willing to sacrifice fun to follow God, then you really haven't counted the costs. I'm sorry, but Halloween was one of the first things that Christ called me out of. And I'm not saying this to judge or condemn, but I need you to look at the roots. The Bible says to be wise, to come out from among them. There's nothing about Halloween that glorifies God, right? But could we find things about Halloween that glorify Satan? Yeah, gluttony with candy. There's images of witches, ghosts, demons, trick or treating. Like, look at what they used to carve the jack-o'-lanterns. Like, all of this is tied to pagan roots, whether you like it or not. And we have to be set apart, and we need to stand out as lights. If you look like the world, you talk like the world, you act like the world, you are of the world. The Bible says, do not love the world or the things of this world. Whoever, like, I posted on Facebook and people came against me, and guess what? I clicked their profile and they were witches and they had like the occult signs. They were coming against me for not celebrating Halloween. That should tell you everything. God bless.